Hey, this is Scott Photography Bonsai. Today I'll be looking at the Canon EOS Rebel SL2 in detail. I picked this up for my YouTube channel specifically. It has that dual pixel autofocus that is really amazing in video work, especially in certain situations like vlogging or doing this type of filming where I'm filming myself. So I'm not using this at the moment, but this has helped a lot to make it very convenient and quicker, easier to film this type of stuff. But it is of course a standard camera. You can take photos with it, which I'll be looking at that as well. But all different features, all the good, bad that I've found so far with this camera, I'll be talking about in this video. So let's get started. Very nice grip on this camera, especially considering the size. Works well in my hands. Of course, it's not super tall, but still a very nice deep grip. Build quality feels solid enough. It is plastic, of course, but no creaks, no strange issues with build quality. The battery door is a little bit flimsy, but works well enough. The three knobs on the camera are some type of metal, very nice and solid feeling. They have a strong click to them, very confident to use. Of course, on the main dial you have manual aperture shutter and program mode with all of the extras. I mostly use this camera for manual video work, but I have used it for photos. In that case, I usually use aperture priority or the shutter priority. Button layout is very decent for a camera of this level. The live view switch, which also works for video recording, it works well in those two situations. ISO button is a little odd because you have to press that and then use the dial. Of course, this camera has a touchscreen and that's a big feature, but we'll get to that later. Overall, I'd say the button layout is very nice. The main switch, I can sometimes hit that on accident, but it is confident in the clicks between the different modes, so it does work well enough. One of the big features of this camera is the fully articulating screen. That means you can adjust it in so many different positions towards the user, towards the lens. You can angle it in a direction that makes it more convenient, kind of like shooting from the hip, or you can tilt the camera sideways and then face the screen towards you. The screen is of course a touch screen. The nice thing about Canon cameras with their touch screens is that they're extremely responsive. They work well, they work in every situation. If you're going through the menus, they work just fine. If you're trying to touch to focus, that works as well. So many different options with a screen like this. I'd say it is really one of the best designs for a screen you can get in a camera. Just keep in mind your mic port is on that side, so if you don't have an angled connector on your mic, you might have some issues with screen blockage if you are doing some type of vlogging situation, but I do have one connector for my smaller microphone and it is angled. That helps out a lot to not block the screen. The battery port door is a little bit flimsy, but it does work. Keep in mind if you do open the door when you are taking photos or something, it will turn the camera off. But besides that, the memory card is in there as well. Not the most convenient spot. I would have liked that to be in the upper grip area, but it is a cheaper camera. So they usually stick the memory card down there with the battery just for, I guess, cost effectiveness. Ports wise, it has HDMI, USB, the microphone port, which is a vital feature for me, and also one for a wired shutter release. The strap lugs on this camera are the lower end, cheaper version, but honestly I prefer these most of the time. I'm not a huge fan of the smaller lugs that more expensive cameras usually have. With the port covers of this camera, they're very simple, but you can pull them out far enough to basically get them out of the way in most situations. This camera is of course APS-C size. You have the 24 megapixels. It is not really of the level of Sony's best, most recent sensors, but I think it's good enough in many situations for still photos and video, of course. I'm not going to get too much into image quality, but I'll have a few sample photos you can check out if you would like. The viewfinder is pretty simple. Of course, it has the autofocus points in there and a bit of other information. It is relatively small, but decent enough. The autofocus system on this camera is not amazing. It has very few points on it, but it seems to work relatively well with the kit lens and the other lens that I have. Of course, if you're trying to do action photography, it's probably not the best camera to do that with. I do have a few third-party batteries for this camera. They seem to work a little longer than the standard battery, and they also don't fit quite as perfectly as the OEM battery, of course, but they do work well enough. The biggest issue with those batteries, at least I think currently, I don't know if any others exist, but these ones do not charge in the OEM charger, so you have to use a different charger. Canon has a very nice phone application. You get the live view, you can pull photos, images, whatever from the camera to the phone. Of course, you can use the HDMI to get a preview if you are doing some type of filming, but very nice app. It works well in my case, especially for video stuff where I can change settings, I can see live preview, it updates very quickly. I can even change the levels on the microphone, which is huge. It works really well once it's all set up and running. This camera is very compact for a digital SLR, almost close to the mirrorless cameras, but still a little thick, of course, because of the mount that it uses, and it has a standard viewfinder and all that. So basically, it's almost similar to their M series cameras. It just has a few extras, few traditional pieces still left to it. The camera's menu interface is very smooth, very easy to use. It's quick. It works with the touchscreen, of course, or you can use the buttons if you like. Sometimes the buttons actually are a little bit quicker to cycle through menus and things, but I do tend to use the touchscreen because it's just right there. It's quick in some situations as well. This camera has a decent amount of adjustments. You can change, of course, all of the video modes, all the photo modes. You can adjust levels for the microphone. You can go into the custom area and adjust a few more obscure functions and features to the camera. So that was the Canon EOS Rebel SL2. Very nice, compact, lower cost camera. Great for 1080p video with the autofocus. That's the big reason I picked it up, and it works very well in that situation. Of course, the photo side of things is pretty decent. The autofocus system in the face detection system is lower end, but it does work well enough for most situations. So it's all in there. The sensor itself is decent for standard photos, but like I said, great for video, 1080p. You can even do 60 frames a second, slow that down, which I do a little bit of with this camera as well. But the vlogging, the filming situations like this, extremely helpful. The app that makes it even more convenient to do the video stuff and of course photo stuff. So that was the SL2. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing. Helps me out a lot. Likes and shares help out a lot as well. Thanks again.